This is the MRI project, and we are doing our project on the Apple MacBook Pro. Each of the tables below highlight the highest spread for each group of the different demographic spreads. Each product lists the top 5 spreads. The higher the spread number, the higher the purchasing for that specific group. According to Apple's chart, home value, household income, level of education, age, and race have the highest spread counts. Many of the same variables show up in all 3 charts. Household income, education, and home values are factors in each product. Hewlett-Packard and Apple have variables that are not part of any other product spread. Apple has race as the top factor, and Hewlett-Packard has country size. None of the products have all of the same variables, but many of them are the same. In all 3 products, 4 out of the 5 of the variables are the same. This indicates that all 3 companies are marketing to the same demographic group. The strongest demographic groups are for each product are home value and household income. Apple has the highest spread by far, with their bottom spread being larger than both of the other products' top variables. On this slide, you can see the different indices for our 3 products. When looking at the highest indices, we can conclude that the index is the likelihood compared to the total population of meeting the specifications of both column and row. The base number is 100, and depending on the number, we can see the percent of how likely or unlikely they will use the product. For example, when looking at ages 18 through 24, we can see for Apple that 75% of people that are between those ages are likely to buy a personal computer from Apple. Both Dell and HP only have 14%, which is a 61% drop from Apple. This shows how Apple has a larger brand image and people are willing to go with their product compared to others. Next would be household income of over $150,000. And again, Apple comes in first with 115% over the 100. This means that it is very likely if people have the money to spend, they will buy an Apple. Dell and HP only have 3 to 5% leverage over the market. Children between the ages of 12 to 17 are 32% more likely to buy Apple. This number is not as high as other categories simply because children between those ages do not have their own personal income. They would need their parents to buy those products, and they do not use personal computers as much as teenagers and adults. Lastly, men between the ages of 18 to 34 are next ranked because men typically care more about electronics than women. 61% is more likely for an Apple and Dell. HP has the same 8% likeliness. This shows Apple has done a great deal with their marketing strategies and understands whom the market is. People want to join the Apple culture, and the numbers prove this is the correct information. The percentage down is a representation of the percentage of product users in a particular segment. In this particular instance, we are looking at the highest percentage of Apple MacBook Pro users within each demographic. There are 5 charts on this PowerPoint, and the next that depict the top 5 demographics for Apple MacBook Pro. The 5 demographics are age, household income, marital status, and age and gender. The charts in front of me show the different age ranges that use the Apple MacBook Pro. The highest age range is 25 to 34, and the second and third age groups are even. The age group that uses the MacBook Pro can range from 24 to 65 plus, and then starts to decrease as ages become smaller. The charts in front of me indicate which household income group uses the MacBook Pro more than any other income group. The largest user of the personal computer is households with incomes between $75,000 and $149,999. Users of this segment have brand loyalty and are likely to invest their money on the latest Apple MacBook and Apple accessories. As we look at the charts in front of me, we can see the range of children who use a MacBook Pro. The chart shows that children from the ages of 6 to 17 have the same percentage of usage. At the stages of toddlers, that percentage goes down because they are at an age where they don't focus on usage of the computer. Children are still learning about basic motor skills. However, we can conclude that since many people already love Apple, their children will be influenced to buy this brand name instead of buying another competitor. The second chart below focuses on marital status, who have Apple MacBook Pro. We also see if it affects their buying usage. By using our MRI data, we can see that the highest percentage is now married, which could be those who were single, had an Apple, and now that they're married, it carried into their marriage. They will now be more affluent to buy Apple brand because of their previous experiences. As we go down the list, we can see people who were never married is a 25% decrease, which is exactly half. This could be correct because they did not get married. It would be one more person in the marriage making exactly 25% more to make it to the 52% who were married. As people become widowed or divorced, we can tell they are less likely to buy a computer because of many other factors who can take an effect. The gender and age demographic chart in front of me indicates that men ages 18 to 49 are the biggest group of Apple MacBook Pro users. The chart also shows that men from the ages 25 to 54 and women between the ages of 18 to 34 also represent a fairly large number of MacBook Pro users. However, women between the ages of 25 to 54 are less likely to be Comparing the percent down between age and household income, the first demographic that we're going to look at is age. 22.1% of Apple users are between the ages of 18 to 24. Apple has by far the highest of product users in this category. Hewlett-Packard is next at 13.4% and Dell close to 12.7%. Dell's highest percentage of product users is in the 45 to 54 age range, coming in at 21.3%. Hewlett-Packard's highest is also the 45 to 54 age range, coming at 22.3%. Apple's highest range is between the ranges of 18 to 34. We believe this is because Apple targets young, innovative students and business professionals. Dell and Hewlett-Packard do much better in the older age groups because older generations are more familiar with these products and are wary to change over to Apple. Next, looking at household income, Apple's highest percentage of product users comes in the $75,000 to $149,000 range, coming in at 45.5%. This is also true for Dell and Hewlett-Packard. Both are almost even at 35.6% and 35.4%. These numbers are probably a reflection of the overall price of a computer. As you get into households with lower income, the percentage drops for all three brands. Next, look at the percent down comparisons between children, marital status, age, and gender. One graphic that Apple does not dominate is children. Looking at the chart, 19.7% of Apple users have children under 6 years old. Dell and Hewlett-Packard's biggest age range is people who have children between the ages of 12 to 17. We believe that Dell and Hewlett-Packard users have older children because they too are older. As we saw in the previous charts, Apple users are young and mainly still in school or earlier in their careers. Next, looking at marital status, you can see that Dell and Hewlett-Packard have the highest percentage of owners who are married. Their numbers are very similar, coming in at 61.1% and 60.2%. The now married category is also Apple's highest at 49.7%. Apple has the highest percentage of all three in the never married category. Next, looking at age and gender, Apple's highest percentage of product users was between the ages of 18 to 49 and 37.7%. This is a much higher amount than any other of the other three products. Dell's highest category is also men 18 to 49 with a 30.1%. Hewlett-Packard has the lowest top percentage, with the top category being women 18 to 49, and its percentage is 30.2%. These numbers are consistent with the rest of our information. Young males are more likely to buy Apple's products than any other computer system. Mass marketing is a strategy used to target a whole market while ignoring market segment differences. This marketing strategy is geared towards marketing a product to a wide audience. The ultimate goal is to have the product to be received by the largest number of people possible. Some traditional methods of mass marketing include television, radio, and newspapers. A high index and a large share of product users are the ideal candidates for mass marketing. After analyzing the highest indices and percent downs, the demographics that we recommend for mass marketing are people who have a household income from $75,000 to $149,999. The highest for Apple MacBook Pro out of all household incomes is $215 for people with a household income of $150,000 or more. However, this segment would be considered a niche market segment since it has the highest index and moderate level of percent down. As you can see from the table, this high income segment is 45.5% more likely than the average population in owning the Apple MacBook Pro in their household. The second demographic that we recommend are people who have never been married. The highest index for the MacBook Pro out of the different marital status is 162 for people who have never been married. As you can see from the table in front of us, 62% of the people who have never been married are more likely to buy a MacBook Pro than people who are now married, which is 10% less likely to own a MacBook Pro. The second table shows the 42.1% of MacBook Pro users who have never been married, unlike the people who are now married, in which 49.7% own a MacBook Pro. Niche marketing generally specializes in catering to a particular market or consumer group with the very same needs. The very first consideration will be the target audience and demographic group or segment. It is generally when a company concentrates all marketing efforts on a small but specific and well-defined segment of the population. The demographic segment that we recommend for niche marketing is the age group segment, specifically the age range between 18 to 24, due to the high index of 175 of medium share of Apple MacBook Pro of 13% of that segment. As you can see from the first table below, people between the ages of 18 to 24 are 22% more likely to buy Apple MacBook Pro versus people between the ages of 65 plus, in which they have an index of 34, which means they are only 5.7% more likely to buy Apple MacBook Pro. The other demographic segments that we recommend is the gender and age group segment, specifically men in the age range of 18 to 49, due to the high index of 103 and a moderate share of Apple MacBook Pro users at 37%. As you can see from the first table below, between the ages of 18 to 49, men are likely to buy an Apple MacBook Pro, The second table shows that 31% of Apple MacBook Pro users are women between the ages of 18 to 49, in which 31% owns an Apple MacBook Pro. Looking at the next slide is the media vehicles mass marketing. The top 5 media vehicles that we decided on for mass marketing all have very high indices and large shares of Apple users. The 5 media types that we have chosen are websites, television, radio, magazines, and cable shows. The 5 media channels that we chose for marketing on the internet are Facebook.com, YouTube, Amazon.com, Wikipedia.com, and iTunes.com. The first media vehicle that we chose was Facebook.com because, as you can see, it has a very high index of 163 and the highest percent down at 60.7. This is the way we decided on all the top 5 internet channels. The 5 media vehicles that we chose for mass marketing on television are Football Pro Weekend, Football Specials Professional, Baseball Specials, Football Pro Pregame, and Football College Weekend. The first media channel that we chose is Football College Weekend because it also has a very high index of 129 and a 17.4% of MacBook Pro users. This is the way we also chose all 5 of the types of media. The 5 media vehicles that we chose for mass marketing on the radio are radio shows during the weekdays 6 to 10 a.m., weekdays 3 to 7 p.m., weekends 10 to 3 p.m., weekdays 10 to 3 p.m., and weekends 3 to 7 p.m. All of these channels have the highest combined percentage down at indices. The first media channel that we chose is radio shows during the weekend 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. because it had a high index of 149 and 31.6% of MacBook Pro users. The 5 media vehicles that we chose for mass marketing and magazines are news and entertainment, newspapers, women's magazines, home service magazines, and music magazines. In this category, the indexes were not as high, but we still chose the highest percent downs with the matching highest indices. The first media channel we chose is music because it has an index of 240 and 14% of MacBook Pro users. The 5 media vehicles that we choose for mass marketing on cable shows are the History Channel, Discovery Channel, CNN, ESPN, and TNT. These were chosen in order by the highest percent down at index strength. The first media channel we chose is CNN because it too had an index of 118 and a very high percent down at 36.4%. The top 5 media vehicles